Hey everyone, welcome back to the Light and Life podcast, conversations on faith and life in downtown Colorado Springs. I'm your host, Liza Cunningham, here again with Pastor Tim.
Hey Liza.
How's it going?
Good.
Good. I'm excited to get into our conversation today because it's about love.
All about love.
All about love.
Love.
And Valentine's Day was recent.
Yes.
I assume you're going to ask me about it, but I thought I'd shoot it at you first.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
How was your Valentine's Day?
Yeah, so we're in the series All for Love in the church, and so we thought, Liza and I thought it'd be fun for us to just really dig in, you know? Like, let's dig in, right? I mean, love is there's a lot of reasons why to talk about love, but it's a big issue. So today is authentic love beyond just words. We want to talk about how love is beyond just words. So, how was my Valentine's Day? See, this year, Valentine's Day and Ash Wednesday
We're the same.
were the exact same day. And so, as a pastor, Ash Wednesday is a big deal.
Right.
And as a husband, Valentine's Day
Big deal.
should be a big deal,
Yeah,
probably.
for sure.
But
Probably.
but my sweet wife, Abigail, does not. She doesn't like to be forced into a holiday like Valentine's Day. So she actually, she's like, I don't want to be pushed into this mold. So she likes it when we do something off the beaten path for Valentine's Day, like we just go out like that weekend or earlier, or do something else nearby. So I think we did okay. We did Ash Wednesday together.
Did you put hearts on people's foreheads with the ashes?
No, we did not do that.
Because you totally could have.
I thought about doing that, and I'm so bad at it. Like the people that come up to my line for their ash, like I know they go home and look in the mirror and like, what happened to my head? So I smudge, ash all over everybody. It's a mess. So probably some of them look like hearts, but no, I did not intentionally do heart for Ash Wednesday. But I think the next day, actually, I was like, I need to go get some flowers. Cause
yeah.
we got some flowers and a card, and we gave each other sweets and stuff. But it took like a couple days to feel like, okay, we clicked the box. We got it. We got Valentine's Day 2024 in the books. What about you?
That's amazing. Well, I have a funny story, actually, and I'll keep it short and sweet. But I decided this year I was going to make my own card.
Okay.
Bad idea. Here's why. I think, my boyfriend and I, for whatever reason, both just really love corn dogs, think they taste awesome. Any opportunity to incorporate a corn dog into something, I'm going to do it.
Okay.
And so I thought about just drawing something funny, completely unrelated to the card.
Okay.
But like a dog in a bun.
Okay.
Really stupid. Okay.
Yep.
But I looked up these pictures of dogs in buns because surely someone's made this joke before.
Yeah.
As inspiration to draw or trace onto my card. Well, I was working from home that day, and I realized that this picture was not printing when it says print complete. I accidentally printed 4 different copies of a dog inside of a hot dog bun to my work computer.
Yes.
I don't know how that happened, but I had, my promotions director giving me like 4 different pages saying like, this is really on brand for you. I'm very confused, but do you want me to throw these away? Or
do you need these for
I was
something?
like, oh my gosh, you have to throw them away. Dispose of the evidence immediately. But Valentine's Day was really sweet.
Good.
We watched Yellowstone and ordered Thai food.
Okay.
And it was just really good quality time. It's hard to find a reservation anywhere on Valentine's Day, I must say.
Try Atlanta. When we used to live in Atlanta.
Oh, man, impossible.
It was like if you were not 6 months in, like making your plans, it was over. Like McDonald's.
My sister and my brother-in-law go to Waffle House every year on Valentine's Day, and they'll set up a little tablecloth and a candle for you.
Yeah.
While you eat.
Well, that was it. That was the other thing in Atlanta. They would do like the Chick-fil-A's. Would like do tablecloths and
That's
stuff.
amazing.
And so you could do Chick-fil-A, The Lord's Chicken.
The Lord's Chicken. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. No, you did not. But,
You've heard it
you've
many
heard
places,
it many
probably.
times. But okay, So love, yeah, and it's, we're going to talk a little bit about romantic love and that sort of thing, but love is such a bigger category, and I really wanted the church to just be really focused and centered on love. So coming to Easter, we're going to focus on John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, just a very famous verse about God's love. And a lot of that was just realizing and recognizing that we probably this year, an election year, other things that just challenge we need love. Mm-hmm. We need a lot of love. Don't you think?
For sure.
So what is love? What is love? Do you want to sing this song? Do you know this song?
I want to know what love is. That's
it.
Want you to show me. Hey,
yeah.
Can we get some drums in the background of this? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Mick Jones, Foreigner. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me.
Don't we all?
Don't we all want to know?
We all want to know.
Yep. And that was, for me, that was like, that's in this, I mean, that was already an old song when I was in, I don't want to be that old.
Right.
But this was a song, like, that was on the radio, that was in the junior high dance.
It was in.
You were
hip.
Yeah.
If you listen to it.
Yeah, that's right. I danced to that at a few dances, no question.
That's amazing.
So what is love? What is love? I think there's no greater force on earth than love. So what is it?
Are you asking me to define it, or?
Yeah. I mean, what do you think?
I don't know if this is necessarily what I think or just what I've always been told. But I certainly feel it. I think love is, to my understanding, willing the good of someone else over you. But one time I did use ChatGPT.
You did?
A little bit of AI.
Can it
define
AI love? Can AI define love?
Yeah, well, so I asked what the difference was between romantic and platonic love. It'll give you an answer. Listeners, you guys should all type that in and see what it comes up with, see if you agree or not. But I don't know if it's a feeling, if it's a verb, love could be a verb. Love could also be a noun,
I've sometimes, I think in my, in certain times in my life, I've overemphasized like love as a commitment, as a duty, and underemphasized love as, like, what is it? Is love? So here's some categories, right? Is it an emotion, or is it a commitment? Is it a weighty responsibility to devote yourself to? Like, I'm deciding to love this person. I'm deciding to love my spouse. I'm deciding to love family member or neighbor. Or is it just a buoyant feeling and joy that you celebrate when you're around somebody? Is to love to feel good in response to the presence of another person, or is to love to, as you said, sort of wish their well-being and act for their well-being even at your own personal sacrifice? Is it duty or fun, sacrifice or pleasure? Is it reward or devotion? Does it give me everything, or does it demand everything? Liza, tell me.
Yes.
Yes.
The answer's yes.
The answer's yes.
To all of it.
Yeah. It is, right?
Mm-hmm. What would you say if someone asked you to define love? How would you define it?
Well, I mean, when I'm up preaching, I feel like you've probably heard me say what you said. I don't want to take credit.
Okay, you can have it. You can have the credit. I'll allow that.
Because I will regularly say, love is not just an emotion. Love is your commitment to the well-being of another, even at sacrifice to yourself, even at the sacrifice of something that you're interested in. Sure. So that love is not just an emotion. It's not just, okay, you tell me to love my neighbor. That means I have to force myself to feel something about them. Mm-hmm. Actually, your actions can lead your feelings sometimes more than your feelings can lead your actions.
That's interesting.
So you might need to answer the love command you might need to sort of step forward and say, well, I'm going to invest in my neighbor's well-being, even at the sacrifice of my own interests, and then see what develops emotionally. But so I tend on that. That's what I'm saying. I tend on that side, like, but you can't go, into marriage counseling or something and just say, well, you just need to buckle down, because of course love has got many dimensions to it, many facets to it, and there needs to be a lot more than just cold duty, right?
I think forgiveness kind of falls under the love umbrella. And, I know we're a few weeks into season 2
yes,
of
we
the
are.
podcast, and there's been a lot of underlying messages around love. And there's, so many facets to it. But one of the topics that we have been interested in discussing is being tolerant,
Okay. Yeah,
loving,
right.
and what's the difference between love and tolerance. And the reason I bring up forgiveness is because someone has defined forgiveness as sacrificial in the way that love is to me. They've said that sometimes forgiveness can just look like sacrificing the right or the need for revenge or the need for justice.
Yeah.
Which feels really heavy. And I think forgiveness sometimes is a much bigger part of love than we think.
Yeah.
Would you agree? Would you?
I would. I think they're
dissent?
deeply related. Yeah. I mean, let me think. Let me give it just 2 thoughts.
Okay.
2 clicks in my brain thinking space. But I think forgiveness is an aspect of love. I would probably categorize forgiveness under love. So, but forgiveness is certainly one of the acts of love, and it is sacrifice, because when you're wronged, when a wrong has been committed, and you need to forgive someone, odds are they can't make up for that wrong. Like, even if somebody just backs into your car, smashes into your car, it's like if they get the car all the way back to the way it was, it's not really, there's still a gap there. Like you lost that use of your car. I mean, not to make, but I'm
still on
I'm
a Carfax report somewhere.
It's on a Carfax report, and the paint
Kelley
doesn't
Blue
match
Book
or something.
somehow,
But I'm using a simple illustration to, you can imagine where the wrong is a lot more than that, and they're never going to make the full gap up. So you're always, if you're going to forgive, you're deciding to take in, to swallow, to absorb whatever gap is left between that person's intent to make up for their wrong and whatever's left. And sometimes they don't want to make up for the wrong at all. They're just they did it and they're gone, and they're out of your life, they're out of your circle. They have no intent of making up for it at all. Well, then are you just going to walk around with this big gap of resentment in your heart for the rest of your life? No, you're going to have to absorb, you're going to have to give of yourself to pay that price. And this is where, as Christians, we need to know this. If you're a follower of Christ, you need to know that you have a deep well to dip into, because Jesus has paid the penalty for all of us. He's paid the gap for all of us. And so when you're trying to fill that gap and you're saying, well, I just need to absorb the harm, that doesn't sound great, right? But what you need to do is to see how Jesus has absorbed the harm for you, and now that gives you more space to say, well, this gap can be filled. God can pour His Spirit into this gap in one way or another, and I want to forgive, so I'm going to sort of ask the Lord to help me to forgive. But I think that's a very good expression of love. But let me put this back on you. So the big sort of parlance in our society is tolerance. And tolerance, is tolerance love? Or if we could just take it a step further, it feels like in a lot of conversations, a lot of discourse, if you don't fully agree with me, then I'm going to see your position as hate and my position as love. Like, we're very quick to just like flip the total needle. The light switch has got to be either on hate or love. There's nothing in between.
Mm-hmm. I think, you know, when people think to love is to tolerate, I'd descend to that in saying, like, do you want God to just tolerate you?
Right.
Like, if someone just merely tolerates me, like, I am not loved at all. You know, I feel like it's an active commitment.
Yeah.
Or
I think if you were raised if a child were raised in a home where the primary message they got from that home was that they were tolerated.
It's tough. That's tough.
That's tough, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not the need of the heart.
And I also think, you know, for a parent to raise up a child in the way that, you know, is morally right or centered on good, raising a person to be a good person.
Yeah.
I think correcting behavior, I mean, I was grown up where, you know, when I was punished, it was like, I'm doing this because I love you. Right? And
okay. Yep.
And I think that's kind of a message of, like, I'm not tolerating this because I love you. And I'm not tolerating you hitting your sister or, you know, pushing someone out of anger because I love you and I want you to be better.
This is where I think we've simplified, we've come to a really simplistic understanding of love, that you love me if you agree with, I'm overstating it, but if you agree with everything I say and you endorse everything that I do. And that's obviously not the case.
Right.
Like, no parent, if a parent loved their child like that, it'd be a disaster, right? So love has got a lot more dimension to it than simply tolerance, acceptance, endorsement of your inclinations. And so
I think everyone nowadays is just fearful to admit that or have conversations around that, because the reality of it is people aren't going to agree with you. If you're standing up for truth and for what's right, a lot of times, you know, tolerating a certain behavior, a certain belief, or a certain, I shouldn't say a belief necessarily, but is not going to measure up. Am I making sense? I feel like I'm having a hard time.
So I think a rising challenge for us as Christians is the demonstration or the ability to really convincingly convey, I disagree with you, but I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't it
it's
hard
challenging.
to disagree and to love at the same time? It's
it
challenging
feels
to
difficult.
Do that.
There's this song, and I'm going to take it back to romantic love for a second.
Okay.
I can't remember what song it is, but one of the words is, you know, your wife will always love you, but she might not always like you.
Okay.
Something along those lines.
Okay.
And I think that goes along with, you can love someone while not agreeing with them. Like, I believe you and I disagree on, does a straw have one hole or two?
Right.
And
that's right.
It's a small little thing. But
do we disagree on that? Because it's one.
Oh, maybe we do agree. Who did I disagree with?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe it's your daughter.
No, maybe it is two.
Maybe Ellie.
No.
Because you can't cover that hole, you know? It's technically two sides. Sorry. I digress.
All right. But yeah, so that gets us back to this idea of, well, maybe love is not just an emotion. Maybe love is not just words. How is authentic love beyond just words? Like, how could love as an action of self-sacrifice, or as a deliberate putting of yourself second, you know, of saying, I want to love you. So let's say you're in a relationship with someone, you disagree with them, they start to think that you don't love them because of this disagreement. So what other options do we have? Like what are the, if we're saying that love is beyond just words, is there anything else that we see as Christians in Scripture or in the demonstration of the life of Jesus that we're all trying to follow after in the way of Jesus? What other tools do we have?
Oh gosh. To love someone?
Yeah.
I think you certainly have to vocalize and communicate with other people and how you're feeling. Have you ever heard of the love languages?
Yeah.
There's,
Chapman, 5 love languages.
Yeah. There's, gift giving, words of affirmation, physical touch. What are the other ones? What am I missing?
Acts of service.
Acts of service.
Words of appreciation.
Yeah, I mean, all those things.
Is that it?
I don't know, but...
What, producer, is that correct?
Can we phone a friend? But all of those things are helpful tools in your tool belt.
Yeah.
To love someone,
yeah,
but also to communicate how you need to receive love. Because I think a lot of times people love others the way that they want to be loved, as the golden rule, right?
Right.
But the way that the other person
needs to be loved
is different. So people are loving each other the way that they want to be loved, but the way that people want to be loved differs. Like, I want to be loved because I want to be seen. I want to be in unhealth. I know that I have this crazy need to be needed.
Okay.
Right. And someone else might want to be loved by just, quality time. Oh, that's it. Quality time. Boom. We missed it.
Yep. Maybe we already covered anyway.
Did we? I don't know.
There's 5. And they're good. But there's
5 and they're good.
There's even more than that, right? But yeah, so you've got different, so you have sometimes a deep need to be needed.
Yes. I don't know. The way that I need to be loved, I think, is definitely words of affirmation, too, and acts of service. And all of them are so important. But, I don't necessarily, there's context to each individual relationship. And, how you met. Are you friends? Are you family? Are you romantic? Right? There's different contexts of love, I think, too.
And I think one of the things that I've been thinking about in this instance of how can I prove to you that even though we disagree about something, I love you? Mm-hmm. I think one of the things we overlook is loyalty.
Oh, that's good.
That if I'm still around, because we think that, we've disagreed, and so now we've hit the fork in the road. You're going to go that way. I'm going to go that way. Goodbye.
Avoid.
avoid. Yeah, because that's the other thing is just fearfulness of the awkward situation. We don't like awkwardness, but fearfulness of the lack of durability of a relationship. So it's like, if we disagreed on one thing, I think our relationship is over. Now I'm going to shut off all communication. I'm going to erase you from my contacts list. I'm going to block you on Instagram. It's like you're dead to me. But to hang in, to say, no, I'm still here. Yeah. And weren't we going to paint your shed, or weren't we going to, weed your garden, or weren't we going to take your car to the shop next week? I'm still here. I'm still here. And I think that proving of loyalty is something that I would encourage us as followers of Christ to think about and to pray about and to try to make some sacrifice toward just saying, look, I'm still here. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Totally.
So one of the questions that people ask in this context is, I think people have, they ask, will I be accepted? I think people want to know, am I acceptable to you? And will I be accepted? And I think that's one of those things that there was a study about Gen Z that they've got kind of a series of questions. There's a series of you're Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
I'm
on the cusp of Gen Z and
millennial and Gen Z. So I can put you in both those boxes.
Yeah. Yes.
But Gen Z has a bunch of questions about can I be safe? Will I be accepted? Can I trust you? And we're talking about those in church on Sunday morning, these questions. But one of them is, will I be accepted? And we all want to be accepted. Mm-hmm. So are there any ways that we can sort of express that? Do you remember a time when you felt that as an act of love, being accepted?
Oh my gosh, yes, I do. And I think it's that very first Bible study I went to in college where, I explained I was struggling with an eating disorder and, so terrified to tell anyone that ever, because that's just an incredibly shameful part in the backlogs of who I am and how my unhealth comes out in everyday life. And I've never felt a room full of more love than that. And it's not even something I can explain. It's just like, hey, we're here to bear this with you.
Nice.
To, feel your pain with you, feel your joy with you. Just a deep expression of love and care, and not condemning me, but trying to understand and love me through hardship.
So your weakness, or your showing of your weakness or your woundedness, actually created more community.
For sure.
Where I think we get stuck in a place where we think, if I show you my weakness, I'm gonna wind up with less community because you're not impressed with my strengths. And it's you can impress people with your strengths, but you actually create community by showing your weaknesses. Yeah. And
letting people in.
And letting people in. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've shared this story before, but maybe not on this podcast. But a big part of my coming to Christ was feeling accepted at Young Life, which was when I was a little kid, and I was in junior high, middle school, and I went to this thing, and this Young Life I didn't even know what it was, but it was at it was at Blake Freeman's house, and anything that was happening at Blake Freeman's house that I got invited to, I was going to go to. So,
okay.
I mean,
I have friends like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, she was a girl.
Oh, ho, ho.
Okay. Well, we're not going to go into that. We're not going to go into that. But so I had to be there. So I went and got my mom to drive me there, and I was like, oh, this is really interesting. Like, I've never been. This is like kind of like church, but it's not. And this guy was talking about reading from the Bible, and we sang some songs, played some games. Like, oh, that's cool. It's like, well, that was fun. See ya. And then they're like, no, you should come back. Like, what? Oh, yeah, it happens, whatever, every week or every 2 weeks. So the next time I came back and my mom dropped me off, I got out of the back of the Buick Skylark, and this high school kid remembered my name. And I was getting out of the car, he yelled, Tim! And I was like,
That's cool.
That's cool. Like, I felt known, seen, accepted, loved. And it was a demonstration that made just opened my heart in a huge way, eventually to Jesus. But, well,
that's beautiful.
Love is more than words and feelings, folks, listeners. Authentic love is beyond just words. I want to drop this scripture on us before we close, because the Bible talks about this in 1 John 4, 8 to 12. It says, whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world that we might live through him. This is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son as an atoning sacrifice for our sins. And so that's that idea that love is giving of the self. But then here's this last bit. Dear friends, since God so loved us, and this is the amazing part, this is how God wants our hearts to turn. Since God has so loved us, he's poured love into us, we also ought to love one another. No one has ever seen God. But if we love one another, God lives in us, and his love is made complete or made full or made known, in us. So we don't want to love just in thoughts or in words. We want to love in act and in deed.
And be love.
And be love, because what this is really telling us is the primary way that people will feel God's love is through other people, through His people.
Well, thank you, Tim. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
That about wraps up our time. So, as always, if you're enjoying these conversations on faith and life, please leave us a review. We always love ways to help other people find this podcast, and we'd love for you guys to join in with us in the conversation. So if there's a topic you'd like us to discuss, send an email to podcast@firstprescos.org. Or if you're watching the video version on YouTube, leave a comment below, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next episode when we discuss love and tech.
Love.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.